Welcome to Your Health, where we explore the latest in health across the country. I'm your host, Erica Cardenas. Today we're talking about the importance of preventative health. But before we get started, let's take a look at what's coming up on today's show. It's Brain Aneurysm Month. Learn the symptoms of a brain aneurysm rupture so you can take action. How one company is helping to ensure their employees stay healthy during flu season. And one woman's message about the importance of screenings. All that and more on this episode of Your Health. September is Brain Aneurysm Awareness Month. Every 18 minutes, someone will experience an aneurysm rupture, and 50% of ruptured aneurysm patients will die within minutes. Here's a story of one woman who beat the odds.
My name is Debbie Florence. I live in Gilbert, Arizona. I'm a mother of two, and I've been married for 16 years. It was a Wednesday, November 18th, 2015. I was at work for about an hour in which I heard and felt this explosion in my head and instantly had the worst headache of my life and started to have sensitivity to light, getting nauseous and dizzy, and overall just feeling horrible. It was so different that I decided to ask a coworker to drive me to Mercy Gilbert ER. So I did the CT scan and it revealed a brain bleed. I turned to my husband and in panic knew I wasn't going to potentially survive this event. So my words instantly were my children. I didn't know if I was going to have an opportunity to say I love you one last time to them. Meanwhile, they call a helicopter to get me transported to Barrows Neurological Institute. And my children went out to the helicopter pad with me and we had hugs and kisses. I was received by a nurse and a neurosurgeon, which they did an MRI to assess where the brain bleed was and exactly what they were going to have to do to repair the brain bleed.
My name is Dr. Moon. I'm here in Phoenix, Arizona. When I met Debbie, I was really sort of pleasantly surprised just because she had suffered a ruptured aneurysm, which, looking at the numbers, she had beat the odds. 50% of people that have an aneurysm rupture don't even make it to the hospital in time. And of those that do, many present to us in sort of various states of altered mental status, to comas, etc. And she was one of the lucky ones. Somewhere along one of those pipes inside Debbie's brain, there was a diseased or weak portion of the artery wall that had ballooned out, and that's what an aneurysm is. And where it causes us problems is when they rupture. She realized that this wasn't just your average headache, and so she was smart about it and went to the hospital where we were able to diagnose her pretty quickly and get her treated.
I now am a stroke survivor. I had suffered brain damage, and I was going to be recovering, and I did. I'm not the same employee or mom or wife, daughter or friend as I was prior, and I am certainly trying my best to give back to the world because I was granted a gift on November 18th, right? And I'm still here, so for sure it changed my life.
It's estimated that 1 in 50 of us will develop a brain aneurysm. If you experience any of these symptoms, you may have a ruptured aneurysm and should seek immediate medical attention. A sudden severe headache, like the worst headache of your life, a stiff neck, sudden blurred or double vision, and sensitivity to light. Visit the websites on your screen for more information about brain aneurysms and how to reduce your risk. A healthy workforce is not only good for the employees, but for the company. As flu season approaches, businesses are trying to keep everyone on a healthy track.
My name is Jill Stein. I work at Maxim Healthcare Services in Phoenix, and I'm the lead nurse for the Flu and Wellness Division. Maxim Healthcare Services is a healthcare provider. We usually do vaccination clinics for Cox Communications every year. Flu season in Arizona peaks in the winter months, so November through about March is when it peaks. We start vaccinating in September, and the end of flu season can be actually into the summer months here. It's very important to provide for companies, especially when you work in an office setting where you have a lot of coworkers right around you. So when the infected person sneezes, coughs, or even talks, they can transmit it up to 6 feet away to another person. So it's extremely important for corporations to have us come in so that people aren't transmitting the flu virus from person to person. It means less sick time for the employees. The biggest misconception is that the flu shot gives me the flu every year. That is definitely not the case. The flu vaccine is an inactive virus vaccine. So when we administer the flu vaccine, it actually takes your body about 2 weeks to build up the antibodies to where you're protected against the flu. During that 2-week period of time, your body's going through some changes, you're building up those antibodies, and some people can have low-grade fevers. They could feel kind of tired and run down and have symptoms that kind of mimic the flu, but it's definitely not the flu. It's just your body building up those antibodies in order to protect you.
My name's John Craven. I'm an ambassador of health for employees at Cox Communications. I enjoy hiking, and I don't want to miss a day that I can go out and enjoy the outdoors. So one reason I get the flu shot is to prevent myself from being sick. When you feel healthy, you have a sense of peace. It also makes you feel like you're doing something that's of worth. Our employee base is supported through our health committee, and we support the flu shots every year. We fund a free event for our employees where they can sign up for a free flu shot in our operations centers and obtain that flu shot while at work.
Arizona has so much to offer, and it would be such a shame if you were sick with the flu because you hadn't gotten that flu shot. There's so many fun things to do around the valley, so it really would be a shame if you were sick in your bed or even hospitalized for that matter. So very important to get the flu shot.
I know that myself, when I utilize flu shots, I'm able to protect myself and those around me in the community. At Cox, we're big supporters of health. I'm ambassador of that. I serve on a committee that promotes health within our organization, and I know that if you receive the flu shot this year, you too will remain healthy through the flu season.
It takes about 2 weeks for the flu shot to protect you from the flu. The CDC recommends that people get their flu vaccine by the end of October. Here's what's coming up. Busting the myths about weight loss surgery, and why a colon screening is one of the most important things you can do for yourself. Maintaining a healthy weight is one of the best ways to prevent illnesses, so the experts at North Vista Hospital are dispelling the myths of weight loss surgery.
I'm Dr. Bernie Hanna. I run a practice in Las Vegas Bariatrics, and we specialize in surgical weight loss. I've been director of bariatric surgery now at North Vista Hospital for the past 4 or 5 years. Over the past 15 years of doing bariatric procedures, I've done well over 2,000 or more surgeries, talking gastric bypass, lap bands, and now the main procedure out there, the gastric sleeve. Well, we do have myths with bariatric surgery. Myth 1 is weight loss surgery is too risky. Bariatric surgery and weight loss surgery has been around for over 30 years. And with our current technology and the advancement of technology now, we've refined this process where now bariatric surgery is really not that risky. Every week I see patients in the clinic, post-op follow-ups. Dr. Hanna, I'm off my blood pressure medicine. I'm off my diabetes medicine. Oh, life is so great. So this is what we like to see and what we like to hear. This is why I love what I do. Myth number 2, weight loss surgery requires a long recovery time. Now the procedure time is much shorter. Literally, we can do a bariatric procedure in 20 to 30 minutes. Patients are up, moving around right away, literally within an hour after surgery, walking around. So the downtime is very low. And some patients within 3, 4, 5 days, they can actually go back and start resuming things. So myth number 3, weight loss surgery is the easy way out. So with bariatric surgery, we teach patients that this is a lifestyle, and the surgery itself, we don't look at it as an easy way out because there's a lot of work involved. Myth number 4, eating will no longer be enjoyable. Well, you can still go to the restaurant, you can still order food. However, your stomach is smaller now. If I made your stomach 1/3 the size, obviously you're going to eat less. Patients can still enjoy their food. It's all about the quality of the food and not the quantity. When we talk about our bariatric program, it truly is a program. And we're supposed to follow our patients for at least up to 5 years after their procedures. So we have a regimented follow-up post-operatively. They have to see us in the office. They see our dietitians. They see us. We do monthly support groups. The nursing staff is consistent, so they know how to take care of these patients. So the experience from they walk in the door, coming through the whole process is truly a great experience. After your procedure, I consider you my patient for life. But North Vista Hospital, you can sign up for a monthly seminar where anyone's invited to come in, and that's at no charge, that's totally free. The physician, myself, is here. We talk about bariatric surgery, so it's really an educational experience for you. We're here to help patients change their lives for the better.
This year, 140,000 people in the U.S. will be diagnosed with colorectal cancer, and nearly a third of them will die from the disease. Getting a colon cancer screening is imperative to stopping the disease in its tracks.
My name is Dr. Deepa Shah, and I'm a gastroenterologist who works at Honor Health. So colon cancer is actually quite common. It is actually the second most leading cause of cancer death in the United States. Colon cancer is very preventable. Colonoscopy is the gold standard test for prevention of colon cancer. So it is one of those things that if it's done at an appropriate time and an early time, you can prevent it from turning into a cancer. All adults at the age of 50 to 75 should have a screening colonoscopy because it is one of the most preventable cancers that we have. So everybody should have a colonoscopy within that age range.
They recommend that you do a colonoscopy at 50, and I was adamant that I was not going to do that and fought doing it for quite a number of years until I met Dr. Shah, and she just kept pushing and prodding and really got into the reasons why. It's like, okay, just do this, finally at 57. So grateful that I did, grateful that she pushed me. Just was completely embarrassed at the thought of going through that. It wasn't the prep for a colonoscopy that bothered me, it was just the procedure itself. Went in, told her that, you know, I felt great and she wouldn't find a thing, and as soon as I saw her face, when I woke up, I knew there was a problem. Very large tumor, and I found out 2 weeks later that it had spread to the lymph nodes, but no further, so it was stage 3.
And it again just stresses the importance of getting screened and having a colonoscopy done.
What frustrated me, cancer cells replicate in a way that your healthy cells can't. And so it already has an edge against you. I mean, you're fighting an unfair battle to begin with. And having waited 7 years, I gave that disease such an upper hand. And that made me so angry with myself. I mean, they say to do it at 50, do it. It's like a mammogram. You know, if they tell you to go get one, go get one. What happens if you don't have it and you end up with cancer is far, far more difficult than how easy this would have been just to go in and have a polyp removed.
You know, there are always self-perceived obstacles like, oh, well, I don't want to burden somebody as a driver, or I don't want to take a day off work. But in the end, it is worth it, especially if it is a preventable cancer. If we can find polyps in the colon, take them out, remove them, and prevent a cancer from happening, I mean, we've potentially saved a life, and that's priceless.
The American Cancer Society says since 1994, colorectal cancers have risen by 51% in people under the age of 50. They recommend now getting a colonoscopy at the age of 45 instead of 50. Next on Your Health, a place helping those with addiction, and a program that lets you eat real food while losing weight. Getting addicted to substances, especially painkillers, can be hard to break. But at Decision Point Center, they take a unique approach to treating this chronic disease.
The purpose of Decision Point is really to create a program that does what drug and alcohol treatment should do. We absolutely know that alcoholism and drug addiction don't occur by themselves. Most of the time, what we see is an individual who has experienced trauma, an individual who has a co-occurring mental illness. Some come from really significantly horrific family situations. A lot of healing has to be done. You know, most of the people out there don't understand that the correlation that exists between having been traumatized at some point in your life and developing a substance use addiction or alcoholism is 85% in the research literature. We rarely have a client at Decision Point who doesn't do some element of trauma work. The most effective way to do that is EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. It is the Department of Defense treatment of choice for veterans returning home from Iraq and Afghanistan. And we utilize other protocols within EMDR that actually allow us to disconnect the pleasurable feeling in the brain and the relief of anxiety from the use of the substance. And when that happens, what we observe is wonderful. The brain begins to present the individual with alternative ways to feel good and not be anxious that don't involve substances anymore.
I know by continuing to do the right thing, I got people that are willing to show up for me and guide me along the way and help me out as much as possible. You know, and that's only through opening my mouth and trying to build the relationships with people and not being so closed off that led me to the same place over and over again.
Whatever you might be thinking, they get you here, man. They understand. It saved my life and continues to today.
There's a better life out there, and sometimes you just need a wake-up call. There's hope after that, you know?
Our mission is to give them the tools to maintain sobriety and to be able to launch them into a life that has direction and purpose, and to let them know from the very beginning that we have not given up on them and that we never will.
Stick around, we have more to come on Your Health. Not every cancer comes with a warning sign. Learn about screenings you should get to find these cancers. Getting those extra pounds off can be difficult, but Weight Watchers has a new plan that lets you eat real food and lose weight.
Weight Watchers has something to deliver to most of the population of the country. Healthy is the new in instead of skinny. And healthy means that you're going to be eating healthier, moving more, even having a more positive mindset and getting more involved in your happiness. Weight Watchers is all about that. You know, we have a fabulous food plan that leads people to make better choices, and we coach people into making better portion control choices as well.
The Weight Watchers program that we have right now is called Freestyle. It's the most flexible program that we've had so far, by far my favorite. I think that it adds a lot of validity for me, that as the program changes, I don't change. My weight stays the same. My habits are staying the same, and that flexibility is what members are really loving right now.
The Freestyle program is built with enormous flexibility, and what that means is that there's a lot less tracking. If a member's able to track less and eat more naturally, because there's so many 0-point foods, over 200 0-point foods on the food list, that means that any place you go, you can find a food that's easily eaten and you don't have to track it at all. Lots of flexibility. And they're usually foods that we really like. The other reason why a food might be a 0-point food is because it's not a food that you would usually abuse. The food plan is accessible as well. You know, one thing that many members tell me is that, hey, you know, I spend less money on groceries now because I'm not going through the drive-up window impulsively. I buy less junk food. It's surprising how cheap it is to eat when you eat the exterior part of the grocery store, you know, the fruits and vegetables, the lean meats, whole grain breads. You know, you work your way around the grocery store and stay out of the center where all that processed food is.
I feel like there's a lot of freedom in the program, and that flexibility is what members are really loving right now.
We have meetings 7 days a week, more than 65 locations across the state, 200 and almost 70 meetings a week to choose from. So it's very accessible. Our staff do share their own stories, and that's a powerful part of Weight Watchers, is that everybody who works for Weight Watchers came out of what I say one of the chairs. That means that they have joined the Weight Watchers program, they've lived the program, they've decided they want to help others live healthier too, and that's a big part of why Weight Watchers is successful.
I can't describe what it's like to motivate and inspire other people to just make one good choice tomorrow. One better choice, right? One healthier choice. And it's life-changing. It's what keeps me coming back. They inspire me, I think, more than I inspire them.
Preventative health is one of the very best ways to stave off disease, but Americans only use about half the recommended amount of prevention health services. Some cancers like prostate, lung, and colon don't have warning signs, so make sure to get the recommended screenings. And women should always get their annual Well Woman checks. All adults should visit their doctors regularly, even if you feel good. A yearly checkup will screen for diabetes, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol. Staying proactive with your health care can prevent future issues. Thank you for joining us on Your Health. I'm Erica Cardenas. See you next time.